Hey there, so I just finished walking the PackExpo 2023 Las Vegas conference. Just wanted to share some insights as to what I saw and some of the themes that were on the floor this year. First of all, I am very tired. I worked all 3 days. If you haven't been to the conference before, it is massive. Able to spend just the first day in one of the halls. So as far as what's at the conference, there's a ton of different equipment manufacturers that are demoing their machines, which are typically, for some specific package format in food and beverage, healthcare, cannabis, cosmetics, things like that. And so that kind of draws a lot of end customers end users that are looking for specific solutions to their specific needs. There's also types of packaging for specific products, and then finally kind of more the vendor automation type suppliers like Rockwell, Siemens, Beckhoff, different sensor companies who I tend to work with more directly. We work with equipment manufacturers as well, but we also are here to, kind of learn about technology of what people are doing, really make sure we understand the industry and offer relevant services to our customer base. So as far as what people are focusing on at PackExpo this year, I think the main theme that I saw was kind of doing more with less, meaning that the skilled worker shortage is still very evident. A lot of equipment makers were highlighting how easy it is to operate their machinery, upgraded their HMIs to include some type of operator SOPs. They also were highlighting quick changeover of products, so that is one, that it's easy for operators to understand how to do it, but also that when you're changing over formats of packaging, that it doesn't take a lot of downtime to actually change to that new product. And that also is related to do more with less, in that you could use the same machine to run a bunch of different types of packages or products through the same machine, and you have the same footprint and the ability to do multiple things with one piece of equipment. Some other themes are, there's a lot of types of suppliers that do very similar types of equipment to each other. Like if you were to look at one machine versus another, maybe you wouldn't know what the difference is. And I went through and, kind of asked some of those manufacturers, why would they choose you? And I think the theme there that I saw was that those equipment suppliers were saying, hey, we will really help the manufacturer through support in making that equipment work and be appropriate for them. And I think that does still go along with the theme of doing more with less, in that manufacturers, especially in the US, need still a lot of help in the reshoring, the skilled worker shortage. They need that support to make sure that their equipment can actually run, and that is truly a differentiator of when they partner and buy this pretty expensive equipment, that they know that they can actually operate it appropriately. The last point that I would say on the do more with less theme that I saw was that all of this equipment is automated at this point. That's kind of a given. The thing is that the differentiators are how small can the machine be? What is the footprint on the floor? How fast can it do it? What is the payload? And those are really the things where it comes down to the details of when a end user might choose a machine. One of the things that I saw that was kind of missing, that I was a little bit surprised about, there were solutions there, but not a huge data integration push that was a theme of the show. So one of the things that I was interested in this year was robotic palletizing. Maybe it was on my mind because I recently did an interview with Staubli and one of their solutions, but definitely on the robotic side, there was a lot of different palletizing solutions and in many different configurations, but really if you kind of looked at a lot of them, it came down to a few different things. One was that there's kind of this contention between collaborative robotics and more traditional industrial robotics. I think really what it comes down to is how fast you're doing it versus the payloads that you are handling. Several solutions that use the industrial robotics side were really highlighting the safety aspect of it, where you don't have to have as much fencing, which I talked about in the Staubli video with them, but really that why would you would choose that solution over a collaborative robot, which has lower reaches, lower speeds, but also has that safety aspect. Definitely all of the major vendors had a solution in this field. Fanuc, Kuka, that was just like everyone had, Kawasaki, all of them had a palletizing solution. Clearly that's like an easy entry for maybe manufacturers that do not have as much automated capability in their factories at this point. It's kind of like a very clear thing where it's like, probably shouldn't have someone just stacking boxes at this point. Like, there is a solution out there to this that is cost effective. It's just, you have lots of choices at this point and it's like a clear winner. Some of the other robotic solutions that I saw here are a lot of Delta robots. It seemed like a lot of the major vendors were highlighting the hygienic or wash down capabilities of Delta robots. So they have specialized coating. They're more easy to clean. The coating is made that way because if you need to use cleaners, you need to have that coating there, and it needs to be able to maintain and over time when you're doing this cleaning. So that's a very important part of using robotics in direct food handling applications. And finally, another robotics piece that most of the major vendor had was 3D bin picking. So that would be relevant to packaging because if you have a bunch of widgets that are kind of just thrown in a box, the 3D bin picking allows you to see it without having to have it pre-sorted. All the vendors had kind of an overhead 3D vision sensor with a kind of a long end of arm tubing so that you can go and manipulate and see the different orientation. One of the cool ones that I saw was Yoskawa was looking at the upside and downside of a little plastic robot and sorting it that way. It seems like that technology is getting there. Is probably pretty difficult to still get it to work. And I think the other part of it is that it's kind of seems like takes some time to process still, so maybe not the fastest, but if you really are saving time by not sorting it, then that solution would be a good fit. Definitely robotics were a highlight of packaging. It's kind of ubiquitous at this point. It's really pushing the boundaries of speed, payload, and flexibility at a packaging show like this. And finally, one of the other themes that I saw that isn't necessarily do more with less, but is really the push for sustainability in packaging. Clearly, there are different types of materials being considered in order to change the way the packaging is, more recyclable, smaller formats, and therefore the equipment that is being offered has to adapt to that. And maybe like plastics is different. Use that in a motion controller or robot, and now we have to adapt to using paper or some type of material that might rip easier. So there was an entire kind of area of how to use sustainable packaging, and also like how would you even choose the right sustainable packaging. So overall, I definitely think this was a show that was worth going to, especially if you're a manufacturer that has food, pharma, all of this consumer packaged goods. Obviously, all of those people are here, several thousands of people, and I really enjoyed talking to those at the different booths that were able to share their knowledge with me about the different industries and what's really important to end customers now in 2023.